Good morning. It's Monday morning and Friday is VE Day, 75th anniversary of it. So it's been 75 years since victory in Europe and the end of the start of the end of the Second World War. So I thought this week we would do lots of stuff to celebrate and decorate our houses. Now normally I think the plan was there was going to be a bank holiday, there was going to be street parties, and unfortunately with lockdown that's not going to happen, but that doesn't mean we can't still decorate the outside of our houses and maybe have an afternoon tea at home instead. So I wanted to show you today 3 different types of bunting. Now you can make bunting where you sew it together, you turn it inside out, you then hem around the edges again, and then you use bias binding to attach it, and that's lovely if you want bunting that's going to last you for years. But if you just want something to put up for one day, we're going to show you, the proverbial we, are going to show you 3 different ways that you can make bunting. Again, it's not going to last a lifetime, but it will be really nice on the day and will decorate the outside of your house or the inside of your classroom if you're still going to school. Yeah, so first one is fabric. So what I've done is I've got loads of white sheets just because I do, if I'm honest. I bought a load for a project, never used them, and I'm now slowly working my way through them with various different projects. So all I have done is with a pair of pinking shears. Now if you don't have pinking shears, you don't have to use pinking shears. I've merely used pinking shears because it stops it fraying, and I happen to have them in the house, so it's not a problem for me. If you don't have them, just use normal scissors, it's really not an issue. And I've just cut triangles, and then I have decorated them, really, really lovely thing for young people to do, with the Union Jack. So, and you could actually maybe do a bit of research into the Union Jack and see what all the crosses mean on it, because they're all linked to different parts of the UK. I've used fabric crayons. You can use I'm trying to choose brand names here. You can use permanent markers, and they work just as well, but if you're using permanent markers, please make sure you put a piece of paper underneath you, because they will soak through the fabric and go onto the table, and they do mark the table. So with that in mind, what I have done is I have taken a piece of string, and I have started already, because otherwise you're going to have to sit and watch me for 10 minutes, to make my bunting. So I've got my piece of string, and I'm going to tilt you down now because I've got the sewing machine. That's why we're in the dining room, because this is where the sewing machine is. So this is the back of my sewing machine that you are watching, because as good as I am, I cannot sew backwards, and I did try that this morning earlier, and it didn't go so well for me. So all I'm going to do is place my piece of fabric there, pattern side down, my piece of string across the top. Can you see that there? So my piece of string here goes across the top, and I'm going to fold over the top, and I'm just going to stitch. Now I'm using a dark brown so you can see it. I would suggest you use a white or whatever colour your fabric is, but obviously that's up to you. And I'm just going to stitch across the top. Now when I do it, I do a little bit of a wiggle, because, sorry, 2 seconds, I've lost my pedal somewhere down here. I do a bit of a wiggle because I want to catch the string so that it doesn't slide backwards and forwards. But if you want to keep them all in the same place, then you can. I just like the fact that I can put my string up and then move my bits of bunting around to fit the space I've got. So I would go forwards and backwards just to kind of hold it still, and that'll stop it unraveling. And then I'm just going to stitch across, and halfway through just kind of come and pin my string and then back down again. But that's a personal choice thing. Get to the end, backwards and forwards, just a couple of stitches to hold it in place. And then I'm going to pull it out. Now where you've folded it over, because you've got a triangle to start with, just to make life easier, you end up with these little bits here, which we don't really want. So all we're going to do is take a pair of dressmaking scissors, never to be used on paper, I have to say, or on anything other than fabric if I'm being honest, and trim them off like so. And you end up with, oh, I'm just tipping you back up again, look at my face, with your bunting. And as I say, because it's fabric, this will last. and especially if you are using like fabric crayons or fabric pens or permanent markers, it will last. And it's quite nice because it blows quite nicely in the breeze. But if you don't have fabric and you don't have a sewing machine, panic not, because I am going to show you 2 ways of working with paper. Now just let me move the sewing machine out of the way, because otherwise I haven't got space to work. There we go. Right. So the first one I'm going to show you is a very simple paper bunting. So I have printed out this bunting, and I've printed it out online. And I'm just going to get my paper scissors so I don't use my fabric scissors on it. And you can buy it, you can get it free, you download it, and I think I just put in Union Jack bunting and it came up. And it comes up as well as a black and white just line drawing. So if you want to, you can actually colour it in as well, which can be quite a nice activity. And again, look at the Union Jack, what it all stands for, and it can be quite good fun. So, all I am going to do is cut these out, ready to go. Now you're going to need some glue. Now I'm just using a stick glue. Sorry, string. I am organised today. It's just all I've moved rooms, so I'm having to find stuff. Right. So I have my piece of bunting, and I'm going to tilt you down so you can see. I'm just going to fold over the top. Okay. I'm then going to place this one on top and make sure that it's the same size, and I'm going to cut, just looking across the top. Now this will all become very logical in a minute. At this point you can trim these down as well, because it's a bit easier to do it now. Now you can do that with as many pieces as you want. I'm just going to do one as a demonstration so you can see what I've done. And all you're going to do is put a line of glue along the edge of the folded one. Pop your piece of string along your fold and flip over your edge. So all I've done is trap my piece of string with the top. Now you can leave it like that and that is perfectly fine. If you want double-sided bunting though, all you need to do is put glue on here and that one that you have just cut out is going to be stuck on top. So you now have double-sided bunting so that when it blows in the breeze you get that lovely effect. Okay, last one involves a laminator and it's a little bit more long lasting. This really needs to go up on the day and only if it's not raining. The last one, you're going to laminate your bits of bunting. It's exactly the same pieces of bunting. I have created as well these ones and I do have a video I'm going to upload that shows you how to do it. So that will be a separate video, but it's using Publisher just because it's a fairly easy system to use. And all I have done is I started off with my buntings. So I had the buntings I've downloaded. I've also chosen to put some photographs from the actual VE day back in the day. And I've also created these, as I say, which the tutorial for it will be in a separate video so you can see it, otherwise this video goes on forever. I've glued whichever 2 sheets I want back to back. That's my cat talking to me, I do apologise. I've glued my sheets back to back. Now the reason I do it this way is if you now laminate that and then cut it out, then your pieces aren't laminated because the edges where you've cut aren't sealed. So what you need to do is actually cut them out first and then put them inside the laminating pouch so they come out like this. Does that make sense? Because if they're just one whole sheet and you then cut them out, they're not laminated where you've cut them. Whereas this way, you've got that lamination line in between, and that will stop it from leaking water. So all I'm going to do now is very carefully and very quickly, so you don't have to sit watching me cut this out. Cut these out. You don't have to have bunting this size. You can do smaller bunting so you can fit more on a page, so it uses less laminating pouches. It's entirely up to you. Once you have cut them out, you're going to hole punch the top of them, and you can do, depending on your hole punch obviously, 2 or 3 at a time. Oh, so glad that worked. Okay, and then I'm going to lay out how I want mine to be. Okay, now cut your string to the right length that you want it to be, and you are just going to go in one hole on each piece of bunting and out of the other. Pull it through, in one hole, out of the other, pull it through, in one hole, out of the other, pull it through. The cat's come for a visit now, so if you suddenly see a fur ball fly past, you know what it is. In one hole, out of the other, and then when you pick it up, tilting it back up again, hello again, you have got your bunting, which is laminated, so will last even through the British summer, and is double-sided, so can be hung across a street even, if it fits in with the guidelines. So if you want, you can decorate the whole street. And that's how to make bunting. So tomorrow you've got posters to do. We're looking at the traditional like Second World War posters and how we can maybe tweak them slightly to make them relevant to what we're going through at the moment, really. So I will see you tomorrow. Very briefly, you see this face tomorrow. The rest of it will be computer based. Okay, bye.